Hello, and welcome back. My name is Jackblade, and today we're playing Satisfactory. And this is the first recording in our new apartment with my new studio, so the sound might be a little bit weird before I figure things out. However, welcome to Tips and Tricks. We are currently in my uh, Mornrock, in one of my cities, in my Let's Play world. And here's the thing. I was looking around and like, what is the best way to do this? Blah blah blah. Looking at specifically how to do the very complex plastic and rubber loop that I want to build that ensures that we get a ton, like thousands upon thousands of plastic and rubber. And I ran across Satisfactory Modeler, and there are some people who might have been using this before, but I wanted to really get into this and show how it works. I've been like playing around with it, experimenting with it, and I want to show what I've come up with. This is Satisfactory Modeler. You can find it on Steam, and it's a like program that you can install. It's separate. It's like not owned by Coffee Studios or anything like that. This is a like fan-made, like community-made thing that is incredibly powerful. And here's my idea. I want to show you guys my idea for how to use this in an effective way. So let's jump on over into the actual Satisfactory Modeler and see what it looks like. Here we go. It's quite basic. This is like, as far as I can tell, it's written in Java or something like that. And what I kind of want to show is how you can use this and how I would recommend using it. So you can right click and you can get all of the game's recipes. Everything in blue, like this, that is marked like blue, is alternative recipes. And all the recipes are here. And you have like merger, splitter, splurger, like I don't even know what to call it. But here's my idea for the whole thing. So when you start this out, you can do like when you plan a factory, you start in one end. You look at either how much resources do I have available to me, or how much do I want to produce. Those are the two ways to go about it. And when you make a starter base, because that's what I'm going to be looking at here, when you make a starter base, you tend to be more concerned with what resources do you have available. So I am going to create a little bit of a, like that's a lot. That's 60 machines producing 3,600 iron. That's a little bit much. But let's say that we have say we have 3 normal nodes of iron, right? And then we have, because we can also do this. We can right click and we can set it to, this is pure nodes now. So then suddenly we have 360 iron. But I'm going to set this, it's going to be normal nodes. And I'm going to say that we have access to 2 limestone nodes, normal limestone nodes. And let's say we have 2 copper nodes, like this. This means that we have 180 iron available, we have 200 or 120 copper, and we have 120 limestone. And all of this like based on like Mark 1 belts, right? So now the first things we need to produce, what do we need to produce? And now from here, now we need to look at like what is the ultimate production thing we want to do. We want to have iron plates. So I just search for iron plates. Boom, we got you here. We need screw or iron rods. There's an iron rod. We need iron screws. Sadly, we need screws. And that goes out there because remember, we need to make that in like iron rods into screws. We also need concrete. Boom. So that's concrete. And we need, let's see, we need wire. And we need cable. This is your absolute beginners, like what you, when you're done with the tutorial, this is what you have available to you to be able to be produced. And here's how I go about this. I always start from, like, I try to go from the most advanced things that I can make, and I go backwards. So I know that wire is needed over there. So I can just, it's a drag and drop, you drag from that green icon thingy, and you drag that over, and you say like, hey, I want that. It's not gonna show any numbers yet. We don't have enough like of that yet. But what I can do, I know like limestone, I can pull you down here. I can say like, hey, let's see how much we can make out of 120. We can make 40 concrete, you can see here. And then if we look over here, we need to make the ingots. So let's look at this. Let's add a smelter and ingot. Iron ingots. We need to make iron ingots, and they need to go in here, and they need to go in here. That's 90 for each. And that, here's the thing, that doesn't really work, right? If you look at the belts, if we count these as belts, that doesn't really work for these. Same thing if I pull in copper ingots here now. Copper ingot. If I pull that in, we get copper ingots, and then those are in there. Here's the thing. This doesn't really make sense if we look at a 60 belt, right? Because that's the Mark 1 belt. So what do we need to do? I need to make sure that this fits 60, like, or fits the Mark 1 belt. So what I need to do is split these up. And like, this is for an overarching, like here, the production is done. You have an overarching view of what you can do. I would honestly, if you, and this is a fun part, if you were to, for example, add a sink here, this is representative for me of storage. So if I say, hey, let's do this, so that we have a control, like this way we can control how much we have, or store of each, right? And if we hover over this, we see the recipe. 15 iron ingots makes 15 iron rods. So that's 3 machines dedicated to making iron rods. That might be a little bit overkill for the, like, just starter, let's make machine, like, just make some stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say part limit here is going to be 30, right? And now suddenly we have a 240 here. That's 60, 30, that fits on a Mark 1 belt, right? This has to be basically, if we're going with this into storage, we would need 4 of these, right? We have to remove the part limit here. Part limit gone. Part limit gone. So now, with that, boom. Now here's the thing. What failed to update? Something did not update here. I do this. Okay, this is weird. Have I broken the system? Probably. There we go. I think that's an easier, we might have an easier time if we say 30 here, and we pull out and say to an awesome sink. But we also need to pull out to an awesome sink. To an awesome sink. And these are all set for Mark 2 belts. That's not correct. We need to set these for Mark 1 belts. That's on me. When I was playing around before, I set it to Mark 1. So let's just set there. We need to make sure that this goes down to 1. So now, with the final awesome sink in, put it down. And let's go and say, hey, each of these can only have 60. Here's where I can control my production from. In my opinion, this is the best way of going about this, right? So as you can see, we need 4 belts, 4 sinks, or storages for these screws. Now, as a simple thing here now, what we can then do is say like, hey, 75 going in there, blah, blah, blah. Let's say that we can get 30 of these instead. Now we have an even. Steven, there's 90, 90. That doesn't really work. So if I want to be really nitpicky about this, I can copy that, paste, and say this. Now I have 60, 60, 60. Boom. No problem. Which also, incidentally, means we don't need 2 of these. Okay. So now if we look at the numbers, and an easy thing that I'm doing here for myself when I'm doing this kind of stuff is when I'm adding the sinks on, I'm looking at the left side here, output sync points, to add a, like, to see how much I'm actually producing. Like for storage. What is my ultimate output kind of thing. Or I can just look here in the output, like unused and sunk. I don't need to look at that, but I can look at like this to see how much I have total. And then I can just basically do the same thing over here. Just keep it consistent, you know? But what we gotta look at is, for example, here. There, we gotta split this up into 2. So both of those are going in. But now we have 2 belts there. This also needs to be split into 2. So we have 2 setups of 2 machines going in here. That makes 240, right? So that's a little bit too much. And that makes 120. And what we then kind of want to do there is split this stuff up too, right? So let's go and make another one of you first. I have a plan here. Trust the process place, where I make this first. But on top of that, now we get 60-60, right? Which is okay. Then we put those into awesome sinks. I mean, here's another thing. Up here in the right corner, I can change this. So settings, machine defaults, and I can set this to a Mark 1 belt. So that's really nice. And so next time it will automatically do that, so I don't have to fix that again. All right, so now we have the belts set up there. That's still a bit too much, right? And this one will ultimately not be needed. Instead, what we're gonna do is create a sink. Like so. Actually, we're gonna create 2 sinks. Like that. And we can delete. We can't actually delete that. We need that. Let's see. Let's put you as a Mark 1 belt so you're right as well. Boom. And then we can go in here. We can sync that. And both of these are 60. So that's a Mark 1. Boom. So if we look at the numbers now, that's split up. So 60-60. This is the only one that we still need to split up. And the way that we will split this up to make it very, very simple for ourselves is by removing this. Or, sorry, we're going to copy. Boom. Make 3 of these setups instead. And here's a fun pin. Like, how do you remove these? Right click, clear connections. Done. Easy. And then we do this. We do this. 1 set going in there. 1 set going in there. 1 set goes in there. So this is a very, very simple, very low down way of making, like, this would be the absolute basics, like being produced. And because of how we've set up the numbers, let's see, there's something I've done wrong somewhere. No, this is correct. So what I can look now is on the output, there on the sunk output, 120 screws per minute, 30 iron rods, 80 iron plates, 120 wire, 40 concrete, and 60 cable. That should definitely produce everything that you need to move on to like a bigger, like to make the smart plating and reinforced iron plates and all of that kind of stuff. And this is like the very, very simple way that I go about using this. And I kind of want to split. This is going to be a little bit longer video. If you like it so far, hit subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. I literally just came back from a break, so I'm highly energized, so you might be able to tell that. If not, what crack are you on? Now, what I want to do is really show, like this is, I'm going to show a factory that I planned. I'm going to show you how I planned it. That is entirely for the entirety of phase 1. So a very simple way that I'm doing, or the very simple way that I'm doing this is up in the right corner, I have exported this. So I made a new folder that's like in my modeler folder. I've selected myself where I want that in my computer. But basically, this is the phase 1 basics. I have exported those. And then I import so I can just see this. And what I've set up here, if we look at the input, we have 480 iron ore, which isn't an impossible thing to do in the beginning. It's like it's quite simple to get for like these resources. So this is an actual factory that people can definitely build. And no matter how, like I decided to split it up like this. It could literally be anything based on where you are in the world. Like these numbers are what's important, not these. And then what I've done is I've created an outpost. So in here, if I right click and make an outpost, in here, I have another table where I can create whatever I want. And what I have done here is made an outpost for the start of production. So if I open this, you will see that I have all of the iron coming in. There's 2 lines of 240 iron. I'm assuming that you are using Mark II belts for this. And 240 and 240. So that's basically how I decided to split it up on like logistical level for myself. Thinking like in my head, how do I build this? So it goes into 8 and 8 smelters, 8 smelters, and over here for this is actually underclocked. So I've set the clock speed to 88.9%, giving us an even 6 machines to make 80 concrete. And that was simply to like test how that worked. So you just set the clock speed here. Do you have summer loops? Yes. Then it will calculate that as well for you and like double the output and power use or quadruple the power usage for this section and stuff like that. The power you can see over here, by the way. So just so you know. And then I have basically set this up so it smelts, or it makes wire, and then some of the wire is being made into cable. Like this is the same stuff that we were just using. I have just split it up for the output part. So if we go back out here, I've split it up based on where I'm going to put it later. And if we look here, here is my control panel. So by setting up my maximums here on the part limits, I have balanced to create exactly this for storage. And if you have it, use a smart splitter and actually sync all this stuff, because then you will get over 10,000 points per minute. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. But as a storage container fills up, you can then go ahead and sync everything and actually get this. I'm just using this as a proxy for storage, okay? And this is a great way, because I can't right-click this and say like, hey, give me the part limit. But I can't set the part limit on these. So that's a great way that I'm using to create like storage. And then if I adjust anything in here, it will adjust all the numbers, right? So for example, if I were to increase this to 20 and I'm setting this to 0, then stuff will adjust. So if we go back out again, you can see that now suddenly it doesn't need all of this anymore. It only needs, what is that? 171 to make all the like screws and iron rods that it needs. And if I then go back in here, if I were to go like, no, it's okay, I don't need that anymore, I need you back there, and I will set you to 4 again. Boom. Now we're back to it working at 100% efficiency and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, what I've done is basically taken this. You see this outpost over here? That's the phase 1 complete. So after the starter production, this stuff, I've like produced enough that if I go in here, we use all of the remaining resources to create these nice things. And that's 4 heavy modular frames, 10 reinforced iron plates, 4 rotors, and 4 smart plating. Because of how like interconnected this kind of stuff is, specifically with the reinforced iron plates, it's kind of weird trying to find good locations for these things. Because then you also have to think about iron rods coming in, and they're going in here to this. Yeah, so it's a little bit weird or wonky to try and like make the layout look somewhat decent. But yeah, this is essentially what I've come up with. Let's see if we can. Yeah. Either way, you guys, you get the gist. You get the gist. But yeah, then it goes back into the storage over here, and like this would be the actual entire factory. But I've split this up, and there's a very, very good reason for why I have done this. That is, if I want, like, if I close down Satisfactory Modeler, like, let's say that I do this, right? If I go to my library and I press launch on this, and I come back in, it will save exactly everything that I've done here. Which means that if I actually want to start over, and I have this, this, and this in one screen, I can't like mark. I can't go like, okay, okay, I can do this. Yeah, okay, now okay, right click and drag actually marks a lot of stuff. Okay, can I actually delete them when I do that? Because that would be nice. Yeah, okay, I can. Very nice. Then never mind me. That was a better solution. I learned stuff today too. I have used this a little bit, but ultimately, my goal is to take everything in my Mornrock planning, everything here, and put it into the Satisfactory Modeler and get it over to, like, make sure that I have all of these things planned out properly so that people can find and look at the specific production lines. So each of these would be their own, like, what's it called? Outpost. But then, like, something to keep in mind as well, I'll probably have an outpost, and then inside that outpost, I will have another outpost. Like, it's going to be kind of like that in some cases. So that's also something to keep in mind. Either way, I love this. Like, I absolutely adore Satisfactory Modeler, and I will be using it religiously from now on because it is incredibly, incredibly well made. But with that said, I sadly have to go. I love you guys for coming here, watching, and I would love it if you press like, subscribe, write a comment, and if you want to go above and beyond, you can support as a YouTube member or on Patreon from $1 a month, and it would be really, really nice. Now, I gotta go, and I will be back tomorrow with another video. Same time, same channel. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Okay, guys. Love you. Bye!